Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker with a Chinese oolong tea today. I'm going to go ahead and get it started scooping out enough. Yes, as usual, 1.5 inch diameter of my 3-ounce Guan. Water, nice temperature. Early rumbling boil, not a full heavy boil. Heavy boils, usually the higher the temperature, the more character of a tea that can be drawn out. Lighter temperatures bring out fewer of the harsher notes, so I try to pick a middle path, push it a little bit, yet not excessively punished, I guess. This particular tea, let me introduce it as it's steeping away there. This is China Cha Dao's 2013 Premium AA Guan. Now, a note before I go any further, the AA. The China Cha Dao site has multiple grades. That's one of the positive things. Not every tea provider will give you so many different grades to choose from. If I remember right, there's a 6A, which is one of the higher grades that is offered, down to what he just calls the economy grade. This particular tea, the AA grade, 125 grams, available for $17.99, $18 US. It's a spring harvest, I should mention. It also gives a little bit of information about how this tea was sourced. It was from the SMCD Tea Company. So, having said that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about this tea, the characteristics of the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. Starting here with a little bit of the dry. Nice, usual lilac, a little bit of a kind of a, I'm going to go ahead and say a bit of a sourish type of note. Some tea guanins can have a kind of sought after sour type of note. This one seems to have something that is along the lines, maybe the closest is a bit of lime peel. And again, it's the subtler, it's the finer point in the aroma bouquet there. Mostly it has a bit more of the floral, very little of the roasted aspect, roasty or toasty type of notes. Looking at these leaves, they are fairly bright green yellow. The size of these indicates that this is 2 leaves, maybe 1 leaf in some instances. So I still see some stem pieces here and there, indicating that there are or were or will be some, we'll find some leaves connected, along the same piece of branch stem there. So having looked at the dry leaf, this has probably gotten fairly good steeping going. With a tea guanin, sometimes it's kind of nice to push them around. Some people will, with a tea guanin, because they're tightly balled, people want intense. The other option, I should say, is to put more leaf in, steep it for a very brief, say 30 seconds or less, so that you're basically pouring the water in and pouring your tea out. You can get lots of steeps that way, potentially unlocking different layers as the leaves gently, progressively unfurl. I'm going to go ahead, though, and pour. Looks good. We talk for a minute. Let the liquor sit to the side there for a moment. Kind of give this a smell, and we will talk a little bit more about the wet leaf here. Still more of the gentle lilac. It's getting more a little bit deeper, a little heavier, a little more into a kind of English laurel type of flower, shrub flower type. What I'm not getting are some of the more what you can get with some types of the tea guanins that get a bit more of the roasty aspect or the greener aspects that get into more of a kind of a cooked lima bean. This one's diverging vastly from that. Less of that. Although, as it cools, you may be able to detect a bit of that. Okay, but generally very minimal amounts of that. Pulling out a few of the leaves here. For the most part, they have fully unfurled after one steep. Let me see if I can, kind of gently. You'll notice some ragged edges. Looking at the edges of leaves, I don't see a lot of oxidation. I don't see like the ragged or the jagged teeth type of edge of the leaf that have oxidized. This particular leaf has a thick crease in it where it looked like where some oxidation, some bruising kind of took place. Let me pull out a few. See a stem here. Trying to get to see if that has more than one leaf. That may have been a leaf connected to the end of that stem there, but it's not there now. Fully intact leaf, actually. I mean, a little bit of, again, ragged edges. I got a little resiliency there. I could easily, if I had tugged just a hair more, it would have torn apart. What else? Bright green leaves, you'll see. Again, very low in the oxidation level. Okay. And from the smell, low firing, roasting aspect there. So let me get now to the liquor. Give it a swirl. Nice, bright, yellow-green color. Okay. Give it a pour. The beanie texture is coming out more so now, okay, in the liquor, okay. Bright in the cup. Let me add just a splash more. There we go. Give this a taste. It's not a watery texture. I want to talk about the texture first. It's not a watery texture. It's hinting at brothiness. I guess is the best way to put that. Hinting at brothiness. The floral components are gentle. They're not overpowering. They're not a bouquet of flowers shoved up your nostrils. Those can get too intense. And what can happen with a lot of tieguanins, depending on how they're made, is that balance of texture and aroma isn't balanced, actually. So let me give this another shot here. The other thing I note is this does have a sourness component to it. The Chinese concept can be one of, there's almost like a bit of an etching activity happening on your teeth. I don't know that I would describe it that way for this particular tea, but there is a kind of drawing in, a puckery sourness. I can feel kind of my gums and my cheeks trying to kind of squeeze in, move in closer to my teeth. There's a sourness that develops along the outer side edges of my tongue. So there is a sourness there. This is not coming across yet as a sour off component in the stomach to where this is upsetting in that stomach type of sense. Okay. As this cools, it gets a bit more of the beanie note. There is still some of the floral hyacinth lilac element there, but it's toned down. It's not overpowering. It's something to seek out and appreciate rather than just getting thrust upon you, actually. So looking at this, got some nice components. It's got, especially if you want to get an example of kind of a sour type component, souring type aspect on a Tieguanyin. Get this one and see how it affects you. I would give this one, a fairly nice score. I would probably give this one a 90. Got those nice components, and again, more rounded and more balanced than many of the Tieguanyins that you might come across. So come back to Walker Tier View to find out about the balanced teas, the unbalanced teas, and those are the ones that you're looking for.